I'm Garrett Dockins. I am an indie video game designer and interactive artist. So for my BFA project, I'm doing a video game that I'm making entirely from scratch throughout the course of the year. It mainly covers the topics of addiction, kind of how it's affected me, how it's affected my family, and I kind of try to aim for the more subtle aspects of addiction, namely how it sneakily creeps into your lives and kind of gets you hooked without you knowing, as well as almost a kind of inspirational tone on some of the processes of recovery. With my previous games, what I would do is I'd come up with a simple gameplay mechanic, and then I would build everything else around that. And then I would kind of see what themes that gameplay mechanic would address, right? And then I would use those themes and incorporate them and like make the game kind of surround those. With Allure, I took the opposite route in that I looked at something that was really big in my life right now, something that's been like really harmful to me and like my family. And then I tried to balance the gameplay around that aspect. So it's kind of a flip of what I've done with my other games. What I'm attempting to do with the game is to almost get the player addicted in a sort of way. And the way I do this is by giving the player different abilities throughout the game that they end up relying on. And they kind of make the challenges that you face, namely a series of bosses, much easier. However, once you get to the final boss, it's revealed to you that all of these abilities were actually making the final boss stronger. The game recognizes every single time you've used your abilities throughout the game. And whenever you get to the final boss, he is stronger every single time you've used an ability. Because of this, the only way to actually beat the game is to go back through the game and fight the same enemies that you were fighting before, but intentionally not using your special temptation abilities. The like special abilities are kind of a red herring because it relies on the idea that you know exactly what these things are for and what they do and how they work. And there's even a fake mechanic in the game where in each individual fight, every time you use the ability, the boss that you're fighting, like after it reaches a certain threshold, they enter like a rage mode. What is really important about that is once the players see that like rage mechanic, they think they figured it out. And they think like, oh, okay, so it's about managing, you know, my special abilities up into a point. And so what that does is it causes people to intentionally use the ability as many times as they can get away with, whenever the actual objective that they don't realize till the end is to use it not at all. I am obsessed with something I've been calling intentional design. And it's just essentially the idea that no decision you make is arbitrary. Every small detail has a reason to be there. And that's especially important whenever you think of the medium. I choose video games specifically, in Allure's case, because video games have a kind of innate empathetic power. They have the ability to make you feel things by making you feel things, rather than by letting you sympathize with someone else. And I think that's really, really powerful. And that's why I wanted to, especially with a thing like addiction, see how I could get the player to feel what it's like to be addicted to something, essentially. I find that idea way more powerful than anything I could do in a medium that is not as interactive as video games. I am both lucky and unlucky. I'm lucky in the sense that video game design, at least with mine, I kind of can work from home with it anyways because it's a digital media. And in fact, whenever I do work in studio at the school, I'll just remote desktop back to my home computer and just work on it there. So my actual workflow has not been affected too much. What has been affected, however, is that I am an interactive arts major in a place where you are not allowed to interact with people. And that is a little difficult. It's really hard to get people for testing because you have to like sign up for it and you have to schedule meetings and you have to do all this stuff. Now if I want to test someone, I have to make sure it's runnable on whatever device they're on, you know, and then I have to like export it and I have to build it and then I have to send it to them and then I have to hope that there's no errors there that I'm not trying to test. And then they have to get it back to me and it's like, it's a whole nother process where before I could just literally grab people and say, hey, help me test this game.